Hello and welcome back to ETL Vegas, day 2, and delighted to be joined by double award-winning RJ from Bloomberg. Hey RJ, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Yeah, so you just about got over your double win in the US and Canada
it'll
event.
take a couple of weeks, I think. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And you should absolutely be banging that drum. So well done. Remind those at home what you won yesterday.
Best audio best audio visual technology and best technology partnership.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Not an award for pronouncing it.
No, it's a lot of words. Yeah, it's been a long day, long 2 days.
So long but successful. Because this is your second Vegas, and
this is my second in person, but I was a speaker on the first.
The
digital
original.
one.
Yes, you were. I remember. Yeah. Okay. And so how have you found it? How's it gone?
I think it's great. I mean, there's a lot here. I'm very much in the mindset of like not trying to do every single thing and trying to find value and kind of more of the quality over the quantity. And so I've been finding different sessions that are interesting to me. Some around AI, of course. It's everywhere. A session earlier that was specific around data and data usage. There was also a little bit of mention of AI in there as well. And then also spoke on 2 panels as well. One that I moderated and one that I spoke on as well. Yeah.
And what were your 2 sessions about?
So the one that I moderated was around user experience and how event technology drives innovation and impacts user experience overall. Talked a little bit about kind of the data side of things and what that means, where events fit in marketing, because I think that oftentimes the content there was really around the fact that on the event side we often feel like we're looking in on what marketing is doing as a whole, whereas we all feel, at least on that panel, that events are very strategic to marketing, and kind of just the idea of like how that can be better integrated into the marketing campaign, the marketing department, whatever that might be, and also the idea that generally marketing, other users or departments within marketing have a set of tools that are clearly defined for them to use, whereas events, that isn't necessarily the case for what we found. So there's a couple of things that we unpacked there, but it was a really great session.
Was that on the main stage?
It was,
yeah. Great, so you can check that out. It'll be on the YouTube, the ETL YouTube channel. Okay, great. So actually you're not the first person to mention the power of events for marketing. Sat in that chair.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think that's been a good theme of the last couple of days. Actually, people are talking about that. And what are you guys seeing at Bloomberg in terms of how people are embracing events in that way?
I think that what's interesting is I still feel like there are components of event execution that are viewed as like supplemental to the marketing campaign, like I said before. What we've noticed is that whenever stakeholders are going into a meeting, a town hall, something like that, one of the first things they mention is an event or events in general as a part of that business group, as driving a chunk of their objectives, which is interesting. So I think that the story's there. What's most, I think, top of mind for us right now is being able to speak about events and the importance of events, depending on who you're talking to.
Okay.
And so if you're talking to someone, let's say generally on the sales side, they're not going to necessarily care about number of registrations or like the brand toolkit. They're going to care about how many leads did we get, or maybe how many clients across the company go to events or went to an event specifically, because then that for them is a touch point that they can then work with themselves. And so a big focus of ours at Bloomberg within the events team is how we're talking about events based on who we're talking to. I think previously it was kind of like, here are the numbers, here's how we think about it, but now we're kind of taking those numbers and starting to like add a layer of personalization on there depending on who we're talking to.
Okay, yeah, that's and is that something that you're using? Lots of people, again, sat in your chair have mentioned using AI to help kind of extrapolate the data lakes of information. Is that something you guys are looking at?
No, I mean, I think generally like looking at open to, but not using that currently, really. Okay. The extent of our usage of AI at Bloomberg within events, from let's say like across the program overall, besides some smaller examples, is for translations and captioning.
Okay.
So that's the extent there. I think that in my mind is a very practical, scalable option to include. We typically at the company would maybe be considered kind of behind in some of the tech that we use. We focus more on like knowing what works, how it works, and knowing that's going to work well for our attendees and stakeholders, and then implementing it that. And so I think we'll see what's out there and see what's applicable, but there's a lot of thoughts around what data is put into an AI platform, how that data is stored,
Yeah.
where like what laws are around that, and from what I've seen, it's kind of the wild west still, and there's no reality where we would be allowed to or wanting to put information into it. So that's kind of slowed us down a little bit on how we use it right now.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond that, let's take the next 12 to 18 months. What do you see as the key things that are going to happen? Using your magical crystal ball.
Yeah.
Maybe you could use one of your Event Tech awards for it. What are we going to see in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe what I'd hope to see, I'll say that way.
Sure.
I would hope to see an increase in innovation in the space in general, particularly around kind of the digital products that are out there. Often, there's been a couple large companies that have consolidated and started to kind of gobble up some of the smaller companies, and in my opinion, and we talked about it during that session I was on, that's slowed the innovation component of the industry overall. And so we're looking at right now a few different RFPs and focus areas. One is around kind of like your registration and landing page technologies. And again, I'm not expecting to see anything truly groundbreaking there, but what I'm hoping will happen is an emphasis on the product side, especially the digital product side, and getting those sites closer to what you would see in other industries outside of the event space. Because again, I think that there's a bit of a kind of a tech laggard component here on the event tech side. So that's one area. I mean, mine aren't really that cool because again, like we're focused on doing things, at the right pace, at the right temperature. And so, AI obviously will be in there somewhere. I hope that it's baked into platforms in a way that is, one, true to it actually being AI and not just calling it that, but also thinking of like actual practical application that benefits the attendee as well as, whoever else you're trying to kind of target with that. I don't know, I think lastly, and I'll keep it because I've been talking forever, but I think around augmented reality, virtual reality, I know that was kind of really hot and has kind of gone away. We've been testing out the Apple Vision Pro on site to do demos of the Bloomberg mobile app, which is also available in the Vision Pro, as a kind of a side activation. I think there's some really cool opportunities in there. What it takes to kind of create those custom components for an event specifically or an event series, I'm not totally sure on quite yet. As well as implications for accessibility. So, we have the monitors here with closed captions on all the screens. What if there was something that you could leverage? Maybe not like version 1 of the headset, but maybe version 2 or 3, where if you have someone that needs that, they're able to put that on and have a more immersive experience instead of having to kind of constantly look to the right to read the screen. So, general thoughts there. But
that's really cool. I'm going to come over and check that out actually, because it's always been a disappointment to me. Might be the wrong word, but I'm going with it anyway. That VR showed so much potential. But I think I'm not sure if it was the pandemic that ruined it or what. But I think it might be one of those things that we need someone to do it really well, so that some big company or big event embraces it, and then everybody jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that too is the hardware itself. If it's big and heavy, not going to work. As it gets lighter, more sleek, then there's more applications. But I think it will. I don't know if it's going to be in the next 12 to 18 months. Probably not. But in the near future, will impact how we deliver content on site and also virtually.
Yeah.
How we visualize data and kind of moving away from just the slide decks. If Bloomberg is a very data heavy company, if we can take that data and bring it to life in a way that goes beyond just next slide please, that's going to be really powerful for us. So I think our use of the Vision Pro now is very early on, but kind of getting our foot in the door to hopefully something that's a little bit more sophisticated.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's a great time for me to abandon this interview and me to come over and check that out. RJ, thank you so much, and thanks for watching.